Okay, we're going to talk more and more about the rules of the holographic universe. We are in a holographic game, a matrix that allows us to play out the roles that we chose to play out as human beings. Yes, it is one of endless games and laws and rules going on out there, all of which affect one another. And I think it's important for us to understand the rules of the holographic universe that we are living in. In other words, that matrix that we call planet Earth. Are you ready? Let's review the rules. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. There is much to know, yet it's quite simple. I continue to express my opinion and the importance of what's coming. We're going into the tipping point, and I'm going to do quite a few videos on the tipping point. We are at the tipping point. And have you ever been in a flood? I remember in Atlanta once we had a hurricane come through, and we had days and days of horrendous water pouring down. And yeah, it was pretty crazy, but there was this one moment, and it happened actually within minutes. It appeared to be a few minutes, where I was actually getting a physical, and I was in the doctor's office when the electricity went out, the roof collapsed, the cable went out, cable television, I can remember that going out. We're like, okay, this is pretty big. And then when I looked out in the parking lot, it went from a few inches to up halfway up through the doors of the vehicles. Fortunately, I had a pickup truck that I was driving that day. It was pretty unbelievable as I sat in traffic trying to get home as people abandoned their cars, and I watched an entire neighborhood go underwater because it was a bridge and they were in a flood zone, and I watched it go up to the roofs. It was happening so quickly. But it really didn't happen in a moment. It took days of torrential downpour of water until it hit the tipping point. And then we saw it. It was in our face. That's what's happening right now. I want you to understand that we cannot just go back to being normal, because we are at the tipping point of how we've been living up to this point. I'm going to discuss the rules of the holographic, let's just say, world that we live in, the matrix rules. Because without understanding them and abiding by the rules in order to win the game the way you want to, I want you to understand what it means. In order to win any game, you have to master something to get to the next level. And so many of us are not mastering anything out there and expecting to go to the next level. And a lot of spiritual people are thinking, if I'm a good person and I'm thinking about myself and doing the right things, that I can achieve this next level of going into the new earth. We'll call it the new earth instead of a different dimension. It is absolutely a different reality. But you can't go there if you're still focused on self. So although we must do the work here to accomplish our goals, to go to that next level, the rules are this. Service to self results in nothing but separation. Service to others is service to self, because we are one. And that's one of the rules of the master game we're playing, is that we are just one, so that service to others is service to self. That is a discovery that you must master to go to the next level. Now, when you go into there, all your actions, your thoughts, and your beliefs must revolve around this, because you cannot serve others and still be worried about what I'm going to get from it, or live in a material world that you're expecting to create happiness for you, or always expecting things out here to show me where to go or what I'm going to do next or what I should do next. And the bottom line is, the next mastery is that you possess all power, all knowledge. You possess all abilities to change absolutely anything. Okay? What does that mean? That you have to believe that first. Now, if you are one of my students, you know that I have a 3-step process. The first one is tap into your power. What does that mean? If you don't believe you have that power, then nothing you do from that moment on is really going to be that effective, because you don't really believe you're doing it. And when you take in that knowledge and accept the fact that everything is illusion, that creates false limitations purposefully, that's part of the game, is to understand that we actually don't have limitations. All right? That's another rule is, okay, we have to master the tapping into our power in order to actually use it. And so the second thing that I teach is Breakthrough Fear. That's an actual course that has been amazing for thousands of people. What is that? When you know you have the power, you have to ask yourself, why aren't things changing for you? Or why aren't you making a big impact on this planet? There's a block somewhere, and that's fear. The rule, one of the rules, cannot go and master the new earth until you master fear. You cannot go to the new earth with fear. That is one of the biggest ones. That's why it's such a big course. It's a 1-year course. I've had several people ask me for an extension, and I said, you know what? You can't put this off. You had a whole year to do it. Maybe I give them the extension, maybe I don't. Why do I put a deadline on? We don't have any more linear time here to screw around with this stuff. It's time to do it now. And most of us, we wait till our back's up against the wall. And right now, our back is up against the wall. All right? If you walked out here across the street to the ocean, and you smelled the dead fish and saw the islands of them and the sick birds and the manatees, it would be in your face like it is mine. Don't wait for it to be in your face. It's time for us, we are at the tipping point, to master all of this. And that is service to others, includes our planet and animals, everything. That means that everything that you take in, that you use, that you seek to do, if it doesn't serve a positive purpose or it has any kind of harm coming to others of any kind, then you will stay on that level of the game. You can't go into the new earth. That's just how it is. And you might want to stay there and enjoy your things at the expense of our environment, our health. Or you can, but it will continue to pollute us and poison us. One of the rules of the holographic matrix game is that you're still human and you came into a body that is vulnerable, and it will be, because we are exposed to a collective that has negativity and density in it. That means you can get sick. All right? It's not that you can't heal anything, because you can, but if you are putting yourself out there and you are intermingling with the density of the planet, you do put yourself at some risks, and you have to be okay with that. All right? Because you can never be destroyed. Now, I would rather go out, physically go out, because I was not hiding from the world, but out there. And I don't mean you have to be physically out and into everything. There's many ways of doing it. That's why I teach technology. You guys see this all the time. I'm teaching people how to reach the globe without having to physically always be with everybody. So you have to master this, because you have to understand that the fear will stop you from doing things because you physically feel vulnerable. And when you get past fear, the funny part is, not so funny, but the funny part is that you physically then become much more resilient. Your immune system is amazing, and you can actually heal things because you're going past the fear. All right? So Another rule of going into the new earth and another rule of the matrix is that you have to understand you actually came here to break through the fear. That was actually a mission. No one plopped you here, and there's no accidents. So the bottom line is that you either master this or you don't, because you don't get out of it. You will have to do this at some point, someplace else, if not back here again, because there's no such thing as time. You could actually come back here in ancient days or in the future if that's not so nice. Anything goes here. So if you don't take this seriously right now because you chose this specific time to be here, then you will go into the destruction of a reality that you don't have to experience. It's not something everybody's going to experience. It's a choice. It's all a choice. It is an individual choice of exploration and adventure of each of us. All right? So what are you going to do right now? Because I'm going to tell you a few things that you can do. First of all, we can't keep polluting our planet. With that tipping point, there's mountains and mountains of garbage and oceans full of plastic, and it's getting worse every second. We're hitting the tipping point to the point where we will have no water or anything that's going to be good for us. It can change. I'm here to tell you it can all change. You have to contribute toward that. And when you do, you're going to live in a completely different world. You're going to see that tipping point that's going to be reversed, because everything we've done up to this point, you and I came here to alleviate that, to fix it, so to speak. We came here to neutralize it. So it's not just going to go away. It has its own tipping point. So you have to accept that. The rule is total acceptance of everything. When you are in stress and anxiety, you are in ego because you care about me. Me. I don't want this a certain way. So people go, no, I'm in anxiety because I get upset over that. And I'm telling you, you're in anxiety because you want that to change. And you feel helpless over it. And that's just not true. You can be here and be the change and start taking action, and then you will feel and see the change taking place. But when you watch that stuff, the ego is sitting back and saying, I'm upset, and all I can hear in that is me. So the ego has to get past its own pain of being here and experiencing the horrible stuff that humans have done up to this point, and be nothing but the solution and the change. It doesn't have to be anything amazingly, Mother Teresa. I'm talking about getting rid of the chemicals. I'm talking about not using anything that's destructive of the planet and not using anything that tests on animals or harms them. I'm talking about nothing that goes into your lawn or on your trees or on your weeds that are toxic, because we're drinking it. And we're in the tipping point and we are all getting sick because of it. And if we can stop it, we can stop it right now. We can alleviate. We can come up with solutions to turn everything around. And the rules are that all that's possible, and you have the ability to do that. You just have to know it, do it, believe it, and you can't quit. You can't quit. You got to stay on it. All right? Every day, if you get, sad or whatever, that's a human experience. It's going to happen. It's not a nice feeling to be here and see this. It can be very sad. But if you don't go out there and use these rules of the matrices that we came here to change this whole thing, to change the story, to change the ending, we have that power. Every single one does. And it takes every single person to make that change. And if you don't join that movement, you will stay on the lower level of the holographic game. You'll never master anything. And you will experience it, and you'll tell yourself that's how it is. And thus, you will live in that world, and trust me, you don't want to stay there. You can live in an amazing world, and you can see the changes out there, and you can see life coming back, and animals being detoxified, and waters restored, and healthy jungles, and forests, and animals flourishing. You can see children no longer starving. You can see people healed. You could see happy old people who are not shoved away places and neglected. But you have to be part of that offers those services. We can't expect others to do it, and that's the rule. You have to be the change. You can't expect somebody else to do it. And if there are things like, for me it's animals, if there are things that I can't bring myself to be around because it's just too painful for me, I give money to the people who are going to facilitate that, because money's badly needed, at least in this world at this moment that we live in. Money still helps in a lot of areas. So if you can't do it yourself, give money to the people who truly are in the trenches making the difference so that they can bring on more help, bring on more supplies, whatever it is. So I wanted to share with you, I'm going to do a video of 2022. And as you know, I name every year. I did it really early this year because I already know what's coming. This was the year of expansion. What does that mean? We are expanding outward. You know, the first one was transition. The year before that was transition, big time, right? Transformation was the second one, and that was last year. This year's expansion, we went into transition. We started to come out of the matrix and realizing we have to transition personally. Transformation is when we started to go into the Great Awakening. We're transforming the way we live, the way we think. This year was expansion. In other words, we know it, we got it, we're getting it. And so we have to expand out into what else is another way for us to live here. It's possible. We're expanding into it, and that's still personal growth, but going out into helping others. 2022 is the year of action. We get it, we know it, we practice it, and now we have to take action. And so you can start that now, and you still go into expansion. It's like, okay, expansion means, you know, I have to expand out into another way of living, working, how I treat myself and everything and everybody else. I have to go into that expansive space. All right, I have to go into that and know it's real and be a part of the positive change. Then we go into action. We stop thinking so much about ourselves and our spirituality. We just do. We go, we give. Hey, listen, you know, if you've got things, if you have beautiful things, you have them for a while, use them and then give it to somebody else. Don't throw it away. Give beautiful things to other people. If you have too many of purses or shoes or whatever, make sure somebody who really wants them gets those shoes. Let's start reusing things that are beautiful and giving and sharing. Somebody at the pool saw my bag and it had gold on it, and she said, oh my gosh, I have bag envy. I actually have two of them because I have inventory, women's inventory of stuff, something I was doing years ago. Not successfully, by the way, because I didn't have the internet training at the time. And so I'm going to take it out there next time. I'm just going to give it to her. Why? Because I don't care about that. I enjoyed it, and I have two of them anyways, and even if I didn't, I'm going to just give it to her. Whether she needs it or not. If she loves something and it's going to bring joy, I'll give it to her. And I know at some point somebody else is going to get it. We have to start living like this. It's not difficult. You can do this. All right? So the rules of the game are distribution of goods, services, love, no more judgment, just compassion, understanding why people do certain things that they do that are so negative, because there's anger and hate and fear behind them. We have to get to the root of that. We have to master all of this. And we absolutely have to be. You have to be that which you desire to live in. So you can't live in the new earth if you have judgment or anger or hate or you're blaming, because it doesn't exist in the new earth. So the rule is, the final all-time rule is, you have to be at the level of that which you want to live, experience. In other words, you have to live it now. You have to be that in order to qualify. It's like trying to get into a club. You have to get recommended, you have qualifications. Do you qualify? Then work on that, because this year, you have to master that, and we're going to go into action, and the rules of the matrix are going to be that we can change this planet. I promise you that. It's happening now, but we're at the tipping point, and we don't have any more linear time, all right? We can absolutely change our future and our past. And it starts with you. You came here on purpose. This was your mission. You're playing the game, all right? Can't get out of the rules. You agreed to it, so play it well, my friend. If you want to sign up for the Miracle Circle, down in the description or on landriaonka.com, it's less than $30 a month. That covers all the costs for training for a whole month, live session, and the replay of that, practices, and I'm using the Master Key system to help you train yourself to get out of that matrix thinking that you're limited. And then, of course, we have Manifest Anything. That's a free video series. Please subscribe. And if you want free videos on how to get trained online using the internet to do anything, you know, self-sustainable things, show people different ways to use healthy items, products, and services, educate people on how they can stop polluting the planet and how to create a community garden, how to be creative in art, and how to earn money doing these things so that they don't have to go to jobs that do destroy the planet. It's all good. It's all good. We can use it for good. It's up to you. We have an amazing future in store. This is your opportunity to be amazing. Don't miss it, or else you'll go into worry and fear and anxiety. I don't want you to stay there. I would love to see everyone happy and joyful and really experiencing what they truly are. And that is right now. It's not something you have to seek. It's right here. It's just letting go of the rest. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.